Condition Willbender is a build that does insane amount of damage by not putting a lot of effort into it. You can press random buttons, and as long as you do it fast, you'll do a lot of damage. And even if you're slow, it'll probably not matter that much, and you'll still do a good amount of damage. In this video, I'm gonna tell you how to do this, and also how to get a bit more knowledge so you can get closer to the benchmark. If you want an easier build, go to the description and check the Hammer Dragon Hunter build that I have as well. Subscribe to the channel, promo code of this, go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support me, and let's get into it. So, what is this build? This build was made by, I'm pretty sure Inzara is the one that, started with this one on Snow Crows, and it has been changed a little bit. But the original build, as you can see here, is just a build where you just stand on one weapon and just press all the buttons, okay? You definitely have a bit of a rotation, and I'm gonna explain that to you, but even in his original video a few months ago, he says no rotation, just avoid interrupting skills and torch 5, right? So it's just like, hey, just press all the buttons and you'll do good damage. Now, doing 45k with this is pretty difficult, and it actually was nerfed a little bit, and it ended up going to another build that we have right here, where he actually says that if you don't weapon swap, it's gonna be around 43k, so 2k less damage. That being said, this build is also kind of easy anyways, and you can definitely push it with this new setup where you have to weapon swap to 45.8k, so pretty good regardless. Now, so the biggest, coolest part of this build is that honestly, you can just choose any button to press and you're probably gonna do big damage, okay? Now, there is a bit of a priority, and we'll talk about that later, but as long as you press F1 and then you do other attacks, you'll probably be fine. The other thing that you could, maybe think about is that, F2 and F3 will make every one of your weapon abilities become, have less cooldown, so you can think about that. But as long as you just go F1, boom, and just press all the buttons, you'll be fine, right? Like, look, I'm just gonna press random buttons, and honestly, I probably will make it to like 33k or 35k, which is definitely not the benchmark, but like, who cares, right? Like, I'm just gonna press all the buttons, I'm just gonna keep going. Like, look, I'm at 37k, 35k, right? Like, this is good. This is a good build. That's pretty what I really like about it. Like, sometimes I'm really trying to like do a lot of damage, but sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I just wanna have fun, and I just wanna chill. And look at that. As long as you press them fast, you'll be good. And well, that is the beauty of this build. Now we're gonna talk about how you get to the max amount of damage. I'm gonna first tell you how to do this build. And how the rotation works. For the gear, you can just go to the Snowcross website, and here is everything that you need. It's essentially just Vipers with a few pieces of Sinister in the accessories and one Viper ring, Relic of the Fractal, pistol and a torch, and offhand pistol, as well as the second weapon, right? Now, of course, you can just bring this ones here without weapon swap, and it'll work anyways. You can put infusions. I don't have them, so I'm gonna do a bit less damage than the video, but still, it's pretty easy. And here's the build. And it actually, in this website in Snowcross, they actually do a very good explanation of why everything works the way that it does and everything, right? Which is pretty cool. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is priority in terms of all of our skills. There's a lot of skills here, regardless if you can press them more or less randomly, and depending on the priority, you will do more damage. And why is this? Well, we're gonna talk about each of the priorities and why they are the way they are. First, if your F1 Rushing Justice. Why you wanna press this first? Because it has consecutive attacks cost burning. That means that every attack that you do after Rushing Justice will do more damage, will do more burning. Therefore, you wanna press it first. As soon as you see this F1 being, available, you want to press it. You want to forget about anything else and just go in it and press it. After this, you want to consider Purging Flames, as this will do, ticking damage to your enemies. It's going to be this big circle. It's going to do fire damage. Boom, boom, boom. It's very good. So you want to prioritize this as well, right? Also, it's a combo field fire. So if you end up using a combo field, no destroyer, what's the word? A combo finisher, you will be essentially doing more damage. For example, this one is a combo finisher world, so if you do one of the other, you'll proc and you'll do a bit more damage than beforehand, right? Also, after this, you want to consider your symbol of ignition. This is very important as it will do more damage while you're inside of a symbol because of traits that you will have here, right? And also because, as you can see here, it says creates a symbol that ignites when you strike an enemy inside or shoot a projectile into it. So it makes it so everything you do, right, will proc more fire damage. So you want to have this before you do big attacks. Now, then, this is kind of the setup of, you starting to do damage overall, right? You want to, everything here that we talked about, essentially will proc you to do more damage. But next, we're going to have the damaging abilities, which are 2, 4, and I guess 5, but not really. Cleansing Flame, right? So 2, Peacekeeper will essentially do multiple, it will do damage, and of course multiple times. It does multiple ticks, tuck, 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 and that means that, for example, your Russian Justice is going to prop do that, and you'll do more damage to it, right? Then Zealot's Flame. This is actually an interesting ability as you have two you have 2 attacks on the same one, right? So you do 1 and you can see that it's activated and you're posing damage, and during all this time, boom, you press 4 again and then you send the flame. So you want to essentially have the 4 as much with as much time as you can, so you can then boom, pop it on and do a bit more damage. I guess it doesn't really matter. It will be 3 seconds regardless if you... Now, Zealot Flames is a bit of an interesting one. It has 2 abilities in one. You proc it and you start burning outside of you, and then you proc it again and you will send it. So you want to essentially start the Zealot Flame first to, proc your little fire that goes out of you, and then send the actual ball to them. But the cool thing about this one is that you can use this while using other abilities. For example, I can be in Peacekeeper, and while I'm doing it, I can proc the first one, starting to proc this one, and once I'm done and have nothing else to do, boom, I can press 4 again and send the orb. Now you have to be fast, as otherwise you will essentially miss your ball, but you have to consider this. So, because sometimes you don't have enough time to do everything, and it's also kind of nice to be, so you don't have to press 2 buttons at the same time. You can just go in here, while you're doing 2, you're chilling, and then you press that again, right? You can also do the same thing while you're pressing 5, right? 5, Cleansing Flame is a long one, so you can just chill out, and then you press 4 when you're done, right? Which is very, very nice. Now, after that, the other ability you want to consider is Whirling Light. It does a lot of damage. It'll proc your Purging Flames as well, right? Ideally, you want to do that after Purging Flames, right? If you have them together, right? You want to do Purging Flames and then Whirling Light, but overall, you should just be considering it after Peacekeeper, as it just does good damage, good burning, and a lot of attacks. And you can also, press your Zealot's Flame in the middle of it, anyways. Now, after this, what you want to consider and you want to prioritize is you want to be using your virtues because of 2 reasons. Once you have the trait Inspiring Virtues, where is it? There you go, which makes that strike damage dealt is increased after activating a virtue. Now, this is a Condi build, not a power build, but it's still useful regardless. And honestly, most of the time you will be having this all the time, as you want to kind of almost like spamming your virtues. You're gonna have it on all the time. You can see it here or here because of Guild Resume Clarity. But it is definitely something to keep in mind just in case, right? But the other thing that is very, very important about virtues, and why you want to be spamming it all the time, is the trait called Restorative Virtues. Trigger virtue effects reduce the cooldown of active weapon abilities. So this means that once you have all of your abilities in your weapon used, right? Let's say like here we go. I'm just gonna use them all, and then if I press one of these ones, the cooldown will go down a little bit, which is very, very useful because it will make you do more abilities in your weapon, therefore more damage. Of course, you want to use your F1, F2, or F3, your virtues, only when you know that every one of your abilities is on cooldown, so you can actually get the effect out of this. Otherwise, you're gonna essentially just lose a little bit, right? But there you go. This is absolutely something you want to be thinking about, so your cooldowns go lower and you do more damage. Now, of course, your Russian Justice should be prioritized regardless of this. If you see your Russian Justice, you should just use it as you'll make everything after that do more damage. But you want to essentially, consider both things going at the same time, right? So you get the cooldown and you also get the buff anyways, right? Other than this, I guess that's about it. You have this trait called Lethal Tempo, that essentially every time you press your F1, F2, F3, you will do essentially more damage. But honestly, it's kind of hard. As long as you're fast, it's kind of hard to not have that on, on full stacks all the time. So I would not worry about it too much. Now, how does this rotation end up looking? I'm gonna do a little bit of a run right now, even though it's probably I'm not gonna get 43k, especially because I don't have the infusions. But just to show you a little bit how it works, and of course you can also go to the Insera's YouTube, and I'll leave it in the description, of course, so you can check the perfect rotation, as this guy is the one who does the benchmarks, right? But you can see here, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna start this to get my virtues. I'm gonna put the priority right. I'm gonna spin a little bit because that's more important. And we're gonna just keep doing damage. And honestly, it's just pressing all the buttons as soon as they go off cooldown. You don't want to use your cleansing flame too much. Only if you know that you're not gonna have anything to press in a good amount of time. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time, right? Like there, I know that more or less I'm not gonna have anything to press. But look at that, my damage, honestly, it's not bad. I kind of fucked up a little bit, but I wanted to show you, how easy it really is to just press not random models, but with a little bit of a priority, and you'll end up actually doing a good amount of damage, of course, right? And it's kind of a fun one, I think. It's very, very fun to just have one weapon and just press the buttons. It feels nice, and you will end up, having a lot of fun and doing a lot of damage in all of the in a lot of content, right? Which is pretty cool. Now, you can actually make this a bit better by doing a little bit of a trick that is actually in the other build, the actual build from Snowcross, which is a bit more complicated, which starts with having your jurisdiction, your offhand pistol ability. Now, this ability is kind of an interesting one. You charge it. You can see here, you're gonna end up charging it, and then boom, you blast it, right? And the thing about this ability is that you can choose to send it beforehand, right? But in this case, what you can do is before you actually start a fight, you can just charge it to the max, and that way, once you start the encounter, you'll do more damage. Even though if you're just gonna use this ability once at the start, right? So what you want to do essentially is start with Flowing Resolve, just to get your Inspiring Virtues and whatever, and your lethal tempo, and boom, you make it appear, right? You go in here and then you change weapons, and then you continue the normal rotation that you would always do, right? And then you have a little bit of a higher start, and you'll end up, doing a bit more damage later on, which is kind of nice, right? You can also use your 4 in your offhand pistol, might as well while you're there, and just never come back. Now, of course, you can indeed learn the full rotation of the other build, where you actually go in and out of offhand pistol in order to do a bit more damage, but this will require a bit more, a bit more knowledge and a bit more practice, as this one is way easier, even though it's, not really that much of a... It's not that really difficult, right? The other one, definitely you have to be tracking on more stuff. This one, honestly, even though I did give you a bit of a, priority list on how everything works, it doesn't really matter too much, as long as you are fast pressing all the buttons, and that's what you're gonna realize when you actually play, is that you're gonna end up just, doing an insane amount of damage, which is exactly what you want. Now, tell me if you guys have any questions about this build. Tell me if it ends up being fun. Tell me if you don't like it. I personally think it's very, very fun. I don't really like the other version too much, because I don't like offhand pistol too easy, and too kind of fun, because, like, dude, you use this and most of the time you're gonna be close to the boss, right? So you end up pressing F and then a fight, and then as soon as it goes out, you have to like spam it so it actually explodes, and that's, in my opinion, a bit annoying. But not because it's not for everyone, it cannot be for you. So I really have fun a lot with this. I have a lot of fun with this build. So hopefully it works for you. You can use it and you can, blast in Guild Wars 2 with a lot of damage, right? I also want to soon do a top 5 easy builds in the game, and hopefully I'll be able to do that, and you guys can watch that too. So we can do more damage in open world, in everywhere in the game, and have more fun, make everything faster, and earn more gold. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Tell me if you have any questions. Go to my Ko-fi if you want to support me. Go to my twitch.tv/with us in order to watch me live. And see you guys around. Love you all. Bye bye.